What is up, you guys? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video. Now, contrary to popular belief, The Simpsons is not the only cartoon that has predicted the future. I mean, plot twist, who knew? It's definitely the most prolific cartoon in terms of predicting stuff, but it is not the only one. I loved watching Cartoon Network growing up, shows like the Powerpuff Girls, the Flintstones, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, the Jetsons. I loved it all. Which ones will feature on this list? Let's find out. These are the top 10 scary cartoons that predict the future. Starting us off at number 10 is Caitlyn Jenner. Now, I'm sure we all know who Caitlyn Jenner is. The former Olympic gold medalist shocked the world when she came out as transgender in 2015. Assigned male at birth and named Bruce Jenner, Bruce is the father of the Jenners and stepdad to all the Kardashians and started her gender transition in 2015. Family Guy actually made a prediction about this back in 2009, nearly 6 years before it actually happened. In the episode, Stewie questions Bruce's sexuality by referring to one of her sons and saying he couldn't believe that came out of Bruce Jenner's vagina. Brian then responds saying Bruce Jenner is a man, to which Stewie responds to by saying that's what the press would have you believe, but he's not. Bruce Jenner is a woman, a beautiful, elegant Dutch woman. I mean, not Dutch, but he also wasn't entirely wrong. Caitlyn Jenner is a beautiful woman. I'll give her that. Coming in at number 9 are the Paris attacks. Back in March of 2013, the Cleveland Show aired an episode titled Brown Size. And if you don't know what the Cleveland Show is, it was basically a spin-off from Family Guy focusing on Cleveland Brown, but it ended up getting cancelled. Either way, in that episode, Cleveland's wife Donna ends up getting a job loading cargo onto planes at the airport. In one clip, it shows Donna loading luggage onto the ramp, and as she throws multiple bags, one of them is a Muslim suicide bomber that has a Paris tag on him. And of course, the real Paris attacks happened in November 2 years later, and of course the show had no way of predicting that, but it's just eerie that they somehow kind of did. At number 8 we have Harambe. It's always going to be too soon to talk about Harambe, but someone has to bite the bullet and do it, okay? I have to do it. I have to say something. Now, if you've never been on the internet, then you probably wouldn't have heard about the gorilla. Back in May of 2016, a 3-year-old boy was at the Cincinnati Zoo when he climbed a 3-foot fence and got into the moat of the gorilla enclosure. Harambe the gorilla then dragged the kid here and there before bringing it up the ladder and onto dry land. In a quick decision to save the boy's life, because apparently a gorilla carrying him to safety was a life threat, zoo officials decided to kill him. So having said that, Family Guy may have predicted this very, very specific event happening. In the 2012 episode titled Internal Affairs, Stewie gets attacked by a gorilla, and Stewie is obviously a kid getting attacked by a gorilla. Following on the 7th slot of the 2016 presidential elections, the good old Simpsons came in clutch, or I guess not, given the results of the election. In a 16-year-old episode, the show hinted at the possibility of Hillary Clinton becoming president one day. The episode even discussed how appointing Donald Trump would be the worst case scenario, so I mean, they got that bit right too, didn't they? No cap. Did I stutter? It then goes on to showing Lisa as the first heterosexual woman to preside over the US. Woohoo, girl power. In another episode called Bart to the Future, love the pun by the way, Lisa goes back in time to fix the country's economy in the wake of a Trump presidency. Now, I know I hate on Trump a lot, and rightfully so, but the one thing the man does know how to handle is money. I will give him that. Now, at number 6 is modern technology. The Jetsons is honestly one of my favorite shows on Cartoon Network. I even had all the episodes on DVD. I was a loser. The concept blew my mind, and I truly thought 2020 would look something like that and less like a dystopian novel, but reality comes at you fast, you know? Now, the Jetsons predicted a lot of things like dog treadmills, flat screen TVs, FaceTime and Skype, and literally every other way we can communicate over the internet without a phone. Sure, we don't have a robot nanny yet to take care of the house, but slow and steady wins the race, am I right? I just love the opening credits where everyone in the family just popped out of the car one by one in their pods to go to wherever they were going. It was so cute. Judy, Coming in like a wrecking ball at number 5 is Wrecking Ball. I cried to that song so many times over breakups I hadn't even had yet. Miley Cyrus honestly made me feel a type of way, I'm not gonna lie to you. But did the singer come up with the iconic music video concept herself, or did she steal it from the Simpsons movie? In the movie, Homer, the absolute dumbass, gets caught on a wrecking ball while trying to save his house from getting destroyed. Of course, he doesn't ever get crushed or die since it's a cartoon, but he does swing between a rock and a hard place bar for quite a while. So I mean, Miley could have easily come up with it herself, I give her credit. The Simpsons could have predicted it happening, I give them credit. Or Miley could have just smoked a blunt, watched the movie and was like, got some ideas for my next single. Liam, let's break up. Liam Hemsworth, in case you didn't get the reference. In case you're not pop culture enough. And number 4 are gadgets. I remember Inspector Gadget would come on every morning before I went to primary school, which is like pre-K up until year 6 for us. Except it wasn't called pre-K, it was called reception for some reason. It went reception, year 1, year 2, etc. Either way, every morning while I ate cereal, I would just watch Inspector Gadget on TV, half asleep, just trying to live my life, you know, simpler times. Either way, the Inspector used to work with some kind of new technological device every episode, and despite them usually failing, at least he tried them. Penny, on the other hand, used some gadgets that did make it into the future and that actually worked. For example, her watch that had a GPS in it and could also make video calls. Hello, smartwatches. And I mean, yes, Penny's watch also shot lasers out of it, but I'm sure the human race just isn't ready for that right now. Inspector Gadget's car also had a navigation system inside it like most do now, so I mean, they did get some things pretty bang on. Pretty bang on, I must say. Filling in the 3 slot are the Boston Marathon attacks. American Dad is another spin-off from Family Guy and focuses on Stan Smith and his family. The episode titled The Missing Kink aired on the 14th of April 2013, the day before the Boston Marathon bombing, where 2 homemade bombs exploded, killing 3 people and injuring 264. At the end of the episode, Haley is talking to Snot after their date and she says it was a blast. Snot then responds by saying, with the blast I had, that makes 2 blasts. And yes, I know that doesn't directly predict a bombing or anything, but it's just super weird how they said that literal line the night before 2 bombings took place. It's just too coincidental for my liking. Seth MacFarlane, what are you doing? What ties to the government and Illuminati do you have? Now, number 2 is 9/11 Part 1. I absolutely loved watching Johnny Bravo growing up, even though he was misogynistic as hell, but I didn't understand what it was at the time. I was just in awe of how he just pulled out dumbbells out of his ass and just started repping them. Either way, back in April of 2001, an episode called Johnny and the Chain Gang aired. In it, Johnny and Carl end up getting kicked out of the cinema because Johnny was reading the subtitles out loud. Okay, you should get kicked out for that, honestly, how annoying. The two start arguing outside the cinema, and on the right of the screen you can see a poster with a skyscraper on it that had flames coming out of it with the coming soon sticker on it. And this was mere months before the actual events of 9/11 took place, so it could have been easily a coincidence, but I mean, it's just a very specific looking image. And finally, at number 1 is 9/11 Part 2. Now, I never really knew there was an old cartoon version of Iron Man. I haven't seen any of the Marvel movies anyway, so I mean, I'm not surprised I didn't know. In an episode that aired in 1994 titled The Grim Reaper Wears a Teflon Coat, it begins with a call with someone saying New York City is under attack. You can see multiple missiles being shot into the buildings in the city, including the 2 tallest buildings, which were the Twin Towers. We then find out it was Mandarin and MODOK who were behind the attacks, and then we see that they're not quite done. Mandarin then sends out another plane that causes the Pentagon to explode, and I feel like this whole episode hits way too close to home. I mean, yes, as villains, it's not out of the ordinary to think they'd attack important buildings like the Pentagon, but still, this episode came out 7 years before the actual event. Did the perpetrator see the episode as some inspiration, or was it just a plot twist gone horribly wrong? And that is it for today's video, guys. I miss cartoons. I feel like I need some liveliness back in my life during quarantine. Maybe I'll start watching them again. I've been watching a lot of animes recently and I've been loving them. If you have any recommendations for me, let me know in the comments below. But as always, I'm your host, Eamon Hassan, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. The one thing the man does know is money and how to handle it. Handle it. Yeah. That was Judy the wife? Judy was either the wife or the daughter, I remember. Coming in, I came in like a wrecking ball. Sorry, I had a moment there. Anyway, I don't know.